Welcome back to the Success Publishing videocast. My name is Jessica Soto, and I am here with one of our authors, Anthony Pierre, today. We absolutely love shining a light on our authors and the amazing work that they're doing in this world. So welcome, Anthony. We're excited to have you.
Hello, thank you. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Good, good. And so just to start delving in a little bit, can you give like the Cliff's Notes on who you are, where you are in the world, just a little bit?
Well, of course, my name is Anthony Pierre. I'm actually a real estate investor. I'm an entrepreneur, really big into writing. Of course, I'm an author now, published author. Uh, I'm a public speaker, and I'm also even an ordained minister. So, and right now I started what we called a State Masters Real Estate Academy. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm doing right now, where I'm teaching hundreds of people around the world how to invest in real estate, beginners and intermediates. So that's a really big thing that I'm into right now. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, you have quite an impressive resume. I was looking it over right before we were talking. And I mean, you're doing amazing things in this world. And I love the whole backstory to it, or the middle story to it that's brought you here. But first, you are recently published, and we can see that awesome poster behind you. You're in Boundless Success. Can you show us the book with your face on it?
Absolutely. I would love to. This is the book. It's official.
Awesome.
It's actually available, on Amazon right now. So you can get it right now on Amazon. So here it is.
Yeah. How did it feel getting that in the mail and actually holding your book in your hands?
Well, you know what? It actually felt good because I ordered, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 copies or something like that when I initially ordered it. And then when it finally came, and you pull it out and you see your book and you're like, hey, this is my book, so it's pretty cool. And then like to see like my daughter and them, when they kind of seen the book and seen the copy of it, and they was just like, oh wow, like that, you're a published author, and it's something that I've been wanting to do. I've wrote a book before that I've never published. So this actually kind of got me off my butt, and it's like, you know what, you need to start publishing some of this stuff, because I write poetry. I also write real estate publications and articles and stuff like that, and I've been doing it for a while. I just don't publish a lot of stuff, and that's something that now kind of got me out here and just looking at the ideal of, okay, I do have a voice. People do need to hear what I do, what I teach, and something that I've been doing, for years. So
yeah, that's amazing. I love hearing that. I know a lot of our authors, if they were or were not writers before, it kind of gives them that energy and fuel to want to continue doing it and getting the word out.
Yes, absolutely. I already know the next book I'm writing. I already got that.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love
so
it.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So most of our authors have, all as human beings in general, we have something that we've been through that was hard to go through, and we came out the other side better for it. So can you give us a little hint at what your chapter's about, what that struggle is that you went through which brought you here?
Yes, the book, the segment in the book that I have is really just talking about, the power of changing mindset is really what it's about. The title of it is There's No Such Thing as Failure. And basically what it is, back in 2009, I was arrested and ended up being convicted for 6 years in prison. I actually was looking at 22 years and ended up getting 6 years. And it was primarily for me doing a favor for someone that was close to me and kind of got caught up in something that was a lot bigger than me. But what I learned going through that experience was that in order for me to survive this from a mindset and also from a mental health standpoint, I had to change my way of thinking, because at that time I had really never been in any trouble. I don't have a juvenile record or anything like that. And then I had 4 children. And then now I made this bad decision that now put me in this predicament. And I was like, I'm probably not going to get out of this. So it was like the reality of the situation, like, okay, what do I do next? So I started challenging this idea of failure, because going through these emotional roller coasters, feeling depressed about my circumstance, seeing the faces of my kids, it was just a very, very difficult time for me and for them. So, but I started questioning my being, because beforehand, I had been in real estate. It was very successful. A lot of things that I had at that time, monetarily, I'm saying, I ended up losing during this particular situation. But I was known for, I bought all these properties, did all these amazing things, did millions of dollars in real estate. And so, you see that, and then boom, you fall off the horse, and then everybody's like, okay, what happened to Anthony? What did he do? He's going to prison. So it was like, you just sitting there and you just looking at your life, what I'm saying, through this type of rearview mirror, so what you would call it, a rearview mirror. And I'm just like, wow, like, what do I do now? And so the reason why I kind of created this chapter in this particular book is to really help people see the power of changing your mindset. So what I did first is I just challenged that word, failure. And I started to say, are we really failures? And I kind of started from a spiritual perspective, to be honest, because, I was doing a lot of reading, and I noticed in the Bible that it never uses the word failure. It never, ever refers to us humans. So our Creator never refers to us as failures, despite what we go through, what we deal with in life. He's never used the word in the entire Bible. So for me, that was like a hint, like, wow, well, if he's never called us a failure or even used the word failure, why do we use the word? And technically, you really don't fail unless you quit or stop. And most of us are continuing to go, and until they put you in the grave and you're gone from this world, you really are not a failure. So I looked at it as stumbling blocks that we all go through, and it's just a matter of your mindset, how you're going to actually deal with those stumbling blocks. So for me, I changed my perspective. I changed the way that I was thinking. I looked at my situation as a page in the book of my life, and it says, okay, let me attack this in the most positive and the most I guess focused way that can actually change my life for the better. And then I made it not about me anymore, and I said, I'm going to actually make this about others, because I think one of the things that to make the decision that put me where I was, it was very selfish. So I had to kind of look back and says, okay, moving forward, I don't want to be that type of person where I so selfishly be thinking about myself that I forget about my own kids, my wife, family, and you make this decision. So I started making my life be about other people, helping other people. And one of the things that I was able to do, one of the big successes, of course, I became an ordained minister. That was one of my great successes. But on top of that, I created one of the most successful real estate investment programs in the prison system still to this day, that is actually still being taught. And it started off with one person, and before you know it, it grew into hundreds of students that was actually going through my program. And I got one of the top universities here in Ohio to actually sponsor and accredit my program, which was Urbana University. So that was a big thing for me, and it came from me changing my mindset, because I could have been there depressed, but all these other opportunities came. And in the book, I kind of talk about that, like, when I changed my mindset, here's what actually happened. Here's what I actually accomplished, even while I was there. So no matter what situation you is in your life, no matter what stage of difficulty that you might be dealing with, what I realize is that you have to actually go through it, because when you get through it, you've actually accomplished something that not only could help other people because you've been there, but also, what I'm saying, for you, it gives you confidence moving forward that no matter what I face coming forward, I know that I'm built to be able to handle it. And that's what I really learned from that whole entire experience. And that's really what really motivated me to write that in that book.
That's awesome. I mean, I loved your chapter. I love what you took from everything too. Now, mindset is something, I mean, it's a big buzzword, and I feel like it's the hardest thing to change. What brought that about while you were going through this experience? Like, how did you come to the realization, oh, I need to think differently, and then actually do it pretty much on your own?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think what happens with us is that whatever situation we may be in, anyone who's listening to whatever situation you're in, at some point in time, you have to take responsibility as you being a part of it. Because sometimes we like to be in situations, but then we blame everybody else around us, right? Like, if she didn't do this, then I wouldn't have been here. And it's like a domino effect, right? But it's never about you, whether, what I'm saying, you decided to do business with that particular individual. Like, what I'm saying, what led you up to that point to even decide, to do this? And this person ended up causing all these other problems because you made this decision. So you have to, first and foremost, take responsibility for your place and for your decisions that you are actually making. And I think that's key. You have to, first of all, take responsibility. So that's the first thing. And that's what I did. I said, you know what? I'm not, because, my case was kind of crazy. I mean, it was a lot of illegal stuff that was done with the police, and it was all kind of things. I should have never got stopped. There was all kind of things that I could have complained about, and that I did in the beginning fight about, but I realized that I had to look at myself, because whatever the system that I'm in right now, I'm in it. And no matter how unjust or whatever it is, what I'm going to do going forward, and then how I'm going to use this to empower and make myself better. So I first had to take responsibility. So immediately I just said, you know what, I'm in this situation because of me, and I need to work on me. So what do I need to work on? First thing I realized is that I was selfish. That decision was selfish. Also, I realized that I had to change my thought pattern, because one of the things I realized is that we all come from different environments. And I grew up in an environment and probably seen a lot of things that I should have never seen. So they become just kind of part of your daily life. So you associate even with people that you probably shouldn't associate with, that if you got caught, or if you guys were, in a situation, you probably can get in some trouble. And that was kind of our day to day. I went to college, I did all these different things, but I still had friends that I was associated with that was in the streets and stuff like that, that I would try to reach down and, I'm doing all these great things, but, come, how can I help you? And that's kind of what, put me in a predicament that I ended up getting in trouble. So I had to assess that. So one of the principles that really helped me was a biblical principle in 1 Corinthians 15:33, which says bad association spoils useful habits. So that was huge for me, because it made me start to evaluate me. It was my decisions. It was the association. This association, I ended up getting everything bad that came with it. So everything good that I was doing, that bad association corrupted and spoiled everything good that I was working on. So what did that tell me? I have to change the people that was around me. I had to create an environment that I only allow people in that's actually going to uplift me, but not be a poison that's going to tear me down. So that was the first part of it. So in the second part of it was that I had to forgive myself. Me feeling bad about my situation, yes, but at some point in time, you have to forgive yourself for the bad decisions, for everything that you did, and just forgive yourself. It's one thing to go to our Creator and ask for forgiveness, but the biggest thing is that we tend to deal with things in our lives and carry them because we never forgive ourselves. So that was like the other thing that helped me. It's like, I just finally forgave myself. I realized that, hey, I made a mistake, and it probably won't be the last mistake, but, I want to learn from this mistake, and I'm going to actually become a better person because of this mistake. So that was like the next thing, that was like the next phase, like, hey, forgive yourself, and then decide what you want to do going forward. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with your life? And then write it down, and then put it in front of you, and then just start action. That's the main thing, action. The reason why I said the failure, use that, because a lot of people think that because you're having a rough day, you don't want to get out of bed, you're feeling bad about something that happened or whatever. Well, the moment you get out of bed, that was a success. Because sometimes we are in situations dealing with things, maybe loss of loved ones, whatever it is, that may cripple us for a minute. But every little step that you take moving forward becomes a success. And success comes in these small little things that you have to take, and you have to be thankful about it. Like, and that's what I started doing, like, just consistently, looking at my small little victories and be like, man, I did this today. Okay, great. You know, let me move forward here, you know. And then what happens is that this positivity starts to just become, you know what I'm saying, contagious. And then now it starts to attract people that want to be around that. When I was locked up, people only came around me that really wanted to be uplifted and encouraged. So they were used to want to just, hey, let's walk in the yard, man. Anthony, I just want to talk to you. You know, I want to walk in the yard and we talk because I created, you know what I'm saying, this positive world within that crazy world. And then the other thing that I realized is that I was humbled by it, because now I was able to remove this veil over my eyes and I started to see people. I was in one of the, you know, worst type of environments you can be in, but then I started seeing human beings. So I wasn't seeing drug dealers, rapists, murderers, or whatever. I was actually seeing who they were. And I realized that a lot of these people in here was simply a product of their environment, and they all had a story. And it was always something that led up to potentially whatever they did. But because we were in this neutral environment, they all just wanted the exact same thing that I wanted, which was peace and, you know what I'm saying, and to be home and just to have a second chance. So that's why I, you know, was thankful to have the privilege to kind of create that program to give them hope. And you know, and the crazy thing about it, here's a true story, and I'll just share this with your audience. I got out in 2015, left the prison in 2015. The day I was leaving, I talked with my cousin, says, hey, I got to go see my parole officer because, you know, she's requiring me to come right when I get out. And she was like, okay, I'll take you. So I go to see my parole officer. It's a young lady, and I'm sitting there with her, and she says, okay, Anthony, you're low risk, really didn't get into trouble. So we're not going to make you, you know, come and report every week. You just got to send me an email every 6 months or something like that. And I was like, okay, great. And she says, or you can call. I says, okay. She says, okay, but now, what do you plan on doing with your life? And this was like the funniest moment, because at that moment I was thinking like, okay, I really don't know what I'm about to do with my life, you know? So I'm sitting here, right? And I'm just thinking, and I'm like, well, you know, I got my water, one license, I got these things, so maybe I might do that. But in my heart of hearts, I would love to open back up my company and start back investing in real estate. And she was like, you know what? You're like the 10th person that came in here that was talking about real estate and how they, you know what I'm saying, were, you know, going to get into real estate and how they had a plan and this, that. She said, matter of fact, she said that they had took a program while they was in prison and that there was an inmate in it that was teaching them about real estate. And I'm just sitting there thinking in my mind like, wow. I says, well, you know what? I think that might have been my program. And she was like, wow, was it? She was like, look, I want to commend you. She says, I have never seen anybody more prepared when they came out in terms of what they about to do with their lives, how they was about to go about it. They had a plan. They laid the plan out to me, and they told me all these things that they're going to do it. And ironically, I was sitting there and I had no plan. I was just sitting here and I taught them how to get this plan together and what they were going to do and how they can do it and go step by step. And it was just one of those moments where I said, you know what, I have to get back into real estate. I have to get back out here and do this simply because of all the people that have been inspired. And it's just been an amazing ride.
That's awesome. I love that. So, I mean, I know you said that you've always kind of written, and while you were in prison, that got you back into writing even more. I read that in your bio. But why, so you got out in 2015, why now was the time to be like actually become an author and step into this power?
Well, it was something that had been in the back of my mind. And then when I kind of started talking, you know, about it, and then the opportunity was presented through the company, Success Publishing, it was like, you know what, now is the time. It's like, you know, I wrote a book when I first came home and I never published it. And one of the reasons why I never published it is I always felt like it wasn't complete because it kind of led up to my life before prison, a little bit in prison, but then it had nothing else. So I was like, this is not really complete because, and I could have did a volume 2, but I didn't think like that. I was just thinking like, it's not complete. So I just put it down, right?
Mm.
But then when this opportunity came, I said, so, you know what, this will be a good opportunity for me to actually, put my name out there, put something out there, encourage, uplift. I love the fact that it was motivational. I love the title Boundless Success because I believe that, we all have, boundless, not only potential, but also boundless success is out there for us and it's infinite in terms of, how we think. And this is all about mindset, all about people's experiences, helping you to be able to see that it's somebody that's just like you, look just like you, and in a lot of ways think like you, that actually overcame something that you might even be dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then how has actually stepping into the identity of an author changed how you feel about yourself now?
Well, just being an author and knowing that you're a published author, it's confident because when you have people that are giving reviews, that are telling you that their life's been changed, and and that by reading your book, I had a lady that contacted me and says, hey, just reading this, she's like, I've been low self-esteem. I've never really been confident in myself. She was like, but after reading your book, she was like, it has brought me so much comfort and has made me be confident and made me realize that it's nothing that I can't do. And that is priceless, that is priceless, to tell you another true story, just a couple of days ago, I get a call from, I get a text from one of my spiritual sisters, and she was like, hey, she's like, I want to commend you. She's like, because I just talked to my son, and her son is actually in prison, and he has your book, and he has been, he keeps it on him all the time. And he said he loved the book, and and it's something that he keeps. And a matter of fact, one of the people in my book, which was a parole officer who actually was one of the people who spoke in there, another parole officer in there had stopped him and said, what do you have on you? He said, oh, I got this book. And he looked at the book, and then even the parole officer looked in there, and he says, oh, I actually know this guy right here who made this comment in here in this book. So it was, so just stuff like that, it's just amazing. So it's just been kind of, spreading around. A lot of people been, really enjoying it. And I think that in itself, I mean, if one person, just that one lady was just worth the effort. You know what I mean? If it didn't touch anyone else and no one could, that in itself was just the satisfaction in itself.
Yep.
So that's really what it's all about.
That's great. And then, so I know at the beginning you said a little bit about what you're working on right now, but what is what's the next direct thing that you're working on and doing?
Well, that's it. I got the academy, so that's what I'm building right now. My main objective is really helping people to learn how to invest in real estate. So my program that I used to teach, in prison, now I actually have this program on steroids out here in the real world. And again, it's an 8-week course that you can go through. And it's just been amazing just seeing that now I'm able to teach this. And I probably should have done it years ago, but again, this book, other different things kind of inspired me to say, okay, now is the time to get out here and really start, putting this out here and giving this opportunity out here for millions of people. So that's what I've been working on. I've been pretty much, focusing on that. I still am doing real estate. I got a couple of major projects that I'm actually working on right now. And I got some other little business ventures that I'm actually involved with as well. But that's my primary thing. Real estate is my world. It's been the thing that I've been doing for more than 20 years. And teaching it, it's just something that just brings a lot of joy. And I kind of missed them years when I was doing that, when I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and started teaching. And then now to be able to have this opportunity to bring it out to a wider, bigger platform. So that's kind of, what my focus is on.
Well, congratulations on all of the successes and the future successes. That sounds amazing.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Excuse me. It was a pleasure chatting with you and getting to hear a little bit more about your story and all of the lives that it's been touching. Again, for all of our watchers and listeners, you can catch Boundless Success with Anthony Pierre on Amazon.com. And again, yeah, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Jessica.